Hi YouTube, I want to do another OpenWRT tutorial on disaster recovery for OpenWRT. Alright, this can really kind of apply for both situations if you have a OpenWRT router that does not have USB, and if you have a router that includes USB. You'll be able to remotely restore everything if need be. And for instance, situation 2 weeks ago, my wife texted me. She said Wi-Fi wasn't working. She said no matter what she tried, it didn't work. So I SSH'd in the router, take a look at things, and everything looked fine. I didn't see any issues. Did some tweaks to the firewall. Rebooted a couple times. Nothing worked. Rebooted last time, and this time I tried to restart the Wi-Fi driver and module, and OpenWRT would throw the same error over and over again, dozens and dozens of times, relating to restarting the Wi-Fi module. So something was corrupted with that. So I had to figure out a way to remotely get everything running where I could wipe out the Wi-Fi driver itself, the module, and reinstall it, and getting, dropping in the Wi-Fi configuration file to get everything working in a short amount of time. So this is a method I came up with, and this will work on all models, and we're going to go through step by step here. So let's go ahead. I'm first going to SSH into the router here. Actually, let's do it this way. And this method of disaster recovery will cover 99% of everything. There's a few tweak things that you'll need to set up, maybe Samba tweaks to get that running and started, etc. But otherwise, almost everything else will be set up. Alright, so you'll need 3 things for this to work. And I'm going to put this document into the notes, a link to this document into the description. So the first command you'll need is this. This is a backup of all your packages in a text file without the description included. So you'll store this file somewhere safe on a USB drive or FTP or whatever, or you can download it afterwards. And you'll run a specific command. I'll show you a little bit later, and it'll restore all your packages. You need a tar backup of Lucy from the tar backup of all your configs as an additional precaution. You can do that in 2 ways. You can do it through the Lucy web interface, or you can use this command right here. You need to change this mount point drive to wherever you decide to store your tar backup. And lastly, as another precaution, rsync your ext config to a mounted drive point, USB drive. If, like I said, if you've got a router that has USB, rsync it there, and rsync your USB or your user bin directory as well. In case you have any custom scripts, I have a few backup scripts that I use to do routine backups of OpenWRT. So if you got all those things backed up, 99% of everything will be good to go once you've gone through this. So let's go ahead and start with this process. So first thing you'll need to do is download your latest version of Breaking Barrier. Make sure you're downloading the correct bin file for your router, otherwise you will brick your router and it will not take responsibility for that. So anyways, there's two files you can download: the sysupgrade file and the factory.bin file. You want to download the factory.bin file, okay, for this process. So let's go ahead and do that. Copy this guy, CD into the temp directory, wget, and we're going to take out the, we're going to download this factory.bin file. And the next command you'll want to run is this command right here. Like I said, make sure you're using the right bin file, otherwise you will possibly brick your router. Okay, this command, what it's doing here is copying over your ext slash config directory and your ext and some basic essential files you'll need for this process, and using the sysupgrade command with the factory.bin file, you'll keep your majority of your config files, your root access via SSH, and a few other things that will make life a lot easier. So we're going to wait for this guy to reboot. After it reboots, next thing we'll do is do an update and install all the USB modules, the nano, block mount stuff, fdisk, and E2FS probes, which is a program to allow you to format a partition right from within your router. So this guy's rebooting. And like I said, this will work. It copies over your password file, your shadow, which is your root access, and a few other files to keep root access via remote access. So if you're at work and you need to do a quick recovery, this is the way to go. So it should come back up here momentarily. There we go. Let's go ahead and SSH back in. And before I had ext root set up, and now overlays back to its back-end RAM. So we're going to change that. Like I said, if you don't have USB, you will even need to do this step. You'll just recover your config files and Samba settings and reinstall your basic files or programs you want and be on your way. In my case, I'm going to be setting up ext root again. So whoops, forgot to pkg update. So it's going to download the latest repository stuff, and then I'm going to install all the USB modules, block mount, and a few other things that allow me to complete control access to USB storage. Okay, just take a minute to do this. And you can restore your wireless configuration before even doing any of this stuff. You can restore that as long as you haven't backed up, and whoever's at home will be able to get back onto your wireless access again. Alright, let's reboot this guy. After this reboots, I should have access to my USB drives. And at this point, since we used the sys upgrade command and backed up most of the previous configs, if you had any previous FS tab mounts for USB storage, should restore that after you restore your ext root. And you'll see that in a second here. Alright, looks like it's back up. Okay. And we're going to just take a look here again. As you can see, it looks like it mounted. It already mounted my previous mount drive, so I don't even have to do that, which is good. I just have to restore overlay, install my programs I want. So next command we want is this command. Let's clear this. Okay, this is a list of all my USB drives. Okay, I have a 150 gigabyte hard drive, 30 gigabyte flash drive, and a 16 gigabyte flash drive. Okay. The middle partitions for all these is where I want to install my ext root, so I can use any of these middle ones here. I'm going to use the one on the 30 gigabyte flash. It's a little bit faster than it's fast enough and it's pretty stable. So next command we want is, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. First thing we want to do is copy over ext root to the drive. So we're going to make temp directory. Oops. I'm going to format the 500 gigabyte hard drive I have in my 30 gigabyte flash drive, which I just did. We're going to mount that 500 gigabyte drive to that temp directory. See, and we're going to copy over our overlay settings onto that drive, the temp directory. Next thing we're going to do we're going to block detect all the USB drives, and it's going to write everything to the FS tab. Okay. And next thing we're going to do is reboot. Actually, I don't think I really need to reboot. Should have set up overlay first. Well, I'll show you that in a second here. All right. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to grab our let's just do this block ID, and we're going to find that 32 gigabyte 500 gigabyte partition, which is this one, I believe. Just to double check here. SDC2. Alright. Actually, I formatted this one, so we'll use this one. It's fine. Either way, this is off the 150 gigabyte hard drive. I don't want to take up too much time here. So, we need to go into the FS tab, SDB2. So, block ID. This shows us our UUID SDB2, so it ends in 6F4. Okay, so let's nano into FS tab ST. This one, I believe. So what we need to do is change. Copy this. Take it all the way to the top here. And we're going to change this to overlay. I can spell it. And change this to 1. Save it. Control X. Yes to save. Reboot. Once this reboots, the ext root should be active. Should just take a minute here to restart. And df-h and overlay. There we go. 500 gigabyte. All our drives are mounted, which is good. Alright, which saves us any work of mounting the drives, creating directories, all that kind of thing. The only thing might have to do is, if you have Samba set up to share those drives over the network, you might have to set that back up manually. So the next thing we need to do is install those packages that you had that was previously on there before. So as you can see, there's only 4 megabytes used on it. So it's just the basic OpenWRT stuff that's on there now. So to do that, we use this command. So this does a opkg update, and then cats through this. Remember the backup file I told you to back up in the beginning? It's a text file of all your all your installed packages. Make sure you change this directory to wherever you have it stored. Okay, so I'm going to let this go through. And I'll go ahead and fast forward through this section because this was going to take a while. Alright, as you can see, this it's all finished here, installing packages. And there's overlay, 35 megabytes filled. Let's go ahead and reboot this guy. And at this point, once it restarts, you should have access to wireless and all those kind of things. And your previous network setup should be good to go as well. Alright, let's go ahead and SSH back in. As you can see, overlays restored. So there you go. Roughly takes about 20-30 minutes to do this. If you want to restore everything from scratch or restore it on all your packages, works pretty well. If you have any questions, drop me a line. Thanks.